To me, enough is enough. They just wanna hurt us, bring us down, bring us down. Enough is enough. We won't let them hurt us, bring us down, bring us down. Enough is enough. You won't bring us down, bring us down. Enough is enough. They just wanna hurt us, bring us down, bring us down. Enough is enough. We won't let them hurt us or bring us down. Men talk like angels, not showing themselves. So I deny you, devil, God, heaven and hell. There's
Hey guys, welcome back to Queen of the Indies Corner with another episode of Under the Ropes. I'm your host as always, the Queen of the Indies, Tiffany, and today I feel blessed because this has been an interview that I've been wanting for a while with my good friend Bear Bronson. How are ya?
Hey, thank you for having me.
So excited. Thanks for coming on
Excited
here
we-
with us.
Yeah, excited we finally got to do this.
Yes. So this has been a pod that we've been talking about for a couple of months now. So it's Wednesday, right?
Yeah.
Wednesday. You're free. It's like the first Wednesday. It's like total freeness. So love
Yeah,
that.
right.
So guys, if you're new to the Under the Rope series here, I interview everything independent wrestling, whether it's wrestlers, promoters, referees, backstage. I got you covered. If you guys got questions for Bear Bronson, please feel free. Drop it into the chat. I'm sure he'll be more than happy to answer all of your questions. So,
Love to.
so I think this is like kind of like interesting, like to start it because I don't think you're really as familiar with the fact that I think you know me maybe like 2 years now, but I know you a lot longer than that because
Okay.
I've been kind of following you like. I think I was like incognito for like years
Sure.
that I wouldn't like come up to wrestlers and stuff like that. So I've been watching you for like years, even like before AEW and stuff like that in the indie scene. So this is kind of like cool. But
How far back?
Oh God, a year. Like I want to probably say about like maybe like 8. I think like I got more into like the indies about like 10 years ago. So I was even coming to stuff when like you were in Jersey and stuff.
Sure.
So
That was like because I've been wrestling now for like 10 years. So that
yeah,
makes sense.
so
Wow.
I want to say like 8 to like 10 years probably because I think that's like when I started like really deep diving into the independent scene. But like I said, I think that you didn't really get familiar with me until about like 2 years ago. And like it was at the Cap show and I ran up to Gabby. And one of the funny things that happened after this and then I said hi to you is I was telling Dante Drago and I was like, I said, I hope I didn't offend him that I ran to Gabby first. So it's
No.
and then he goes, Dante goes, he has to get used to that he's no longer the star, that Gabby is the
It's true.
star now.
It's true. And ever since then, it's been I have been riding her coattails. It's been really great. It's been a fun
So,
journey.
I love that. So I had to like bring that up because like I said, it's just, you know, like I don't know
No,
if you were
I-
like aware of that.
I love that because I love when I could just like when I'm going about life and I'm going like I can get caught a lot of times just kind of being very dialed in and I don't really like I don't know what's going on around me. I'm just very like focused on what I'm doing. But I love when like people come up to me I've never met before and they're like, this is gonna sound really weird, but I used to watch you like 9 years ago on like Grimm's Toy Show
Yeah.
as Mophead, and I'm like, that feels like 4 lifetimes ago.
Yeah.
Like that is so crazy to me because I was like 19.
Yeah.
I was like 19, 20.
Time flies.
So weird. So weird. But I love it though. I love when people do that.
Yeah, no, so it's crazy because I think like where I want to start with this, with this
Mhm.
interview and everything like that is like now, like, compared from there, and I'm sure people are going to want to talk about AEW and stuff like that, but now it's like you're completely, reinvented yourself, as Bear Bronson. So like, how has that been, reinventing you?
It's been liberating, really, because it's kind of like being your own boss again,
Hmm.
and kind of just sitting down and being like, I don't have to run anything by anybody. I don't have to pitch anything. I don't have to like. I'm very lucky. I've kept a really good relationship with a lot of promoters, even when I was with AEW. Um, so just everyone that I've worked with has just been super giving, super just easy to work with. Talking about people like Limitless Wrestling, Beyond Wrestling, um, plenty of others that have just like I've kept that rapport with them, and they knew for a while me, you know, this was going to happen, and they've just been every step of the way. Wrestling open to like just every step of the way. Everyone's just been very, very, yeah. What do you want to do? We trust you, and it's been really nice. And like coming out of AEW, um, I learned so much, and like it helped me grow a lot, night and day, really, as a performer, and a professional. But you know, you do. I've been talking about this a lot lately. You do kind of lose touch with like what you want to do versus what you were expected
Hmm.
to be doing, what you're or what you're asked to do. So just taking it all back has been really nice, very exciting, and honestly, it's one of those things. Like I'd love to say this. Like I feel like one of the very first wrestling lessons I learned, um, because if you look at the timelines, I joined Creative Pro when it opened,
Yeah.
like 11 years ago, 2014 it opened. And right when I joined the school, the very first thing I saw was WWE released Kurt Hawkins. And you're like, whoa, like this is somebody who's worked with Edge, worked with The Undertaker, worked with like, and you learn, especially since I've learned since then, every single year we see that round of releases, and it's just business. And it's just like, even if, I mean, we just saw it with R-Truth. He's beloved, you know, like who has who has been more of a team player, who has worked harder, put more in, created more moments than a guy like R-Truth throughout his illustrious career, and he still was just told that he's not going to be renewed. So it sucks. It's heartbreaking. You know, you take that time to yourself and go, oh man, like you kind of you hold it like it's a sting that you feel, you hold it in, close your eyes for a few seconds, and then open them. And okay, that is what it is. You can't sit and cry. Like I can't speak for other people, but somebody like me who is not on an R-Truth level or not even on a Kurt Hawkins level at like that time, like I'm somebody who's just purely enhancement talent for the most part. You know, didn't get to really do the things I wanted to do. Did a lot of cool things, but didn't maximize my time there. And you, I could listen. I could just sit and cry about it and go, "There, it's their fault. I didn't do anything wrong. It's their fault." But that's not true at all. Nobody really did anything wrong. Nobody. It's just the nature of what we do. And I feel like the easier you come to terms with that and save your money,
Hmm.
uh, like, okay, cool, is what it is. What's next?
Yeah.
And to me, I feel like I'm lucky. I've seen it coming from like kind of far away. It'd be a different story if I just thought everything was hunky dory,
Hmm.
and then I get a call and what, you know. Uh, but that's not the truth. I saw this coming for a while away, or from far away. I mean, and I've just been preparing, and I've never been so excited in my life, and I'm just, what's next? What are the things I want to do? What are the things that I wanted to do when I got into wrestling that I didn't get to do? And I just, you know, I want it all, man. So I can't wait.
And I think like you could see like, you know, you're having so much fun and there's so much going on, and like there's so much that we're gonna get into with this interview, and it's just like mind blowing to me with everything. But let me give some love in this chat because I see it's popping. I saw Alex Zane gave some love in the chat. Love you, Alex Zane. It's like it's been a minute.
Let's go. I love Alex Zane. That's awesome.
Zach says, "Roar, the Queen and Bear, go time."
Been getting a lot of roars lately. I like that.
Yeah, I feel like we're gonna have to like make some stickers or something to like add to the merch table, pretty much.
Yeah, for sure.
Good Cop Bad Cop's in here. He says it's very late, but I kind of did it with Bear being an anagram of Bree, which is an English word meaning hill. What is the biggest hill you had to climb in wrestling? Ooh.
Wow. I feel like it's not just one thing, but I feel like any hill I've had to climb has to do with my look. So even starting out early, I love him to death. He's going to hate me for saying this because he always does. My best friend since I started training was MJF. Mm-hmm. It's not easy being his friend when you're starting out because he is perfect. He was made for this, right? So it's just, I mean, I'm not crying about it. It's just like, you know, it's when you're if you're the ugly kid in school and you happen to be best friends with the most popular kid in school because you live next door to him and your parents force you to be friends. It's like one of those deals. And like, I would say throughout my career, I've really had to prove it bell to bell. Mm-hmm. I was never the type of guy where someone could just look at me and be like, oh, who's that? Yeah. I think I've gotten better with that over time just by gaining more self-confidence, which is the hardest thing in the entire world. Mm-hmm. But even like my time in AEW as a signed person, I'll say this, and this will, I don't care. I feel like I'm past the ruffling feathers point. There's plenty of guys where in AEW, they would see that they're booked against me, go, oh, fuck. Like, this, I got to, get through this with this shitbag. And then afterwards, always tell me, yo, you are awesome. I would wrestle you every day if I could. And I'm like, yeah, I feel like I have that effect to where, like, people, they look at me and they look at my body because I'm a big guy. And I'm a really strong guy, but I'm not a bodybuilder. I eat whatever I want. I don't care. And I feel like a lot of guys look at me and they're like, this will be rough. And then afterwards, everybody 100% of the time, across the board, my whole time in AEW, across the board, every single person was like, I love working you. That was great. Thank you so much. And I'd be like, great, thanks, cool.
Wow.
So I feel like that was that's throughout my career, that's been my biggest hill is, I would say, even if people weren't prejudging me or even if people weren't judging me at all, there's just a pre-notion of like people looking at me and being like, I don't know what to expect, probably nothing great, and then are thrilled after. So
not supposed to judge a book by its cover, damn it.
I try not to. I always try not to.
Rude people. No. Mm-hmm. All right, let me get more love in this chat because I see it's like blowing up my chat here. All right, let's see. Marissa's in the chat. She goes, hi, Tiff. Hi, Bear. Let's see.
Hey.
Wrestling Junkie Podcast. He says, keep up the amazing work, Tiffany. Thank you. Appreciate you guys. Go check it out. Bear's interview at Wrestling Junkies Podcast. Love you guys. I loved it. I gotta get down and meet them in person and everything. We gotta collab. Jumbo Ref's in the chat. He goes, what's good, buddy?
What's good?
I came to a cap show with him and then he started screaming your shoot name and I started putting my hand over his mouth. I'm like, shut up. I was like, be quiet. I was like, nobody needs to know all that. I was like, so.
That's so funny. He's used it more than people in my real life do. Because like, it's so fun. I mean, Bear at this point has become like my shoot name.
Yeah.
Like not even like on purpose. It's really funny.
Oh man! All right, let's see. Ed's in the chat. He says, "Hey, everything pro wrestling." Conrad's in the chat. He says, "Yo, make sure you guys give him a follow. He's got you covered with AEW, WWE, all that fun stuff." Zach says,
Cool.
"Dude is a special talent."
Thank
Ed says, "Hope to see you back in Chaotic again."
Would love to.
Manny Rez
love
is in the
to.
chat. Hey, what's up? He said 2 goats, which I'm gonna talk about his match. Let me just make sure I get everything.
Who was that? Who said that?
Manny Rez.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yes, that was
Hell yeah.
banger match. Banger match, because that was definitely one of the matches that I wanted to talk about on this podcast. I feel like I'm not even gonna look at my questions because it's just gonna just go how we flow today, pretty much, or whatever.
Sure.
But Focus Pro, IWTV, if you guys haven't watched it, for the Focus Pro Championship, this was a match that if you have not watched, go watch. And I know Manny was like, yeah, I'm ready for this match right now, whatever, so
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about that.
So that was a funny period to where I had just gotten cleared from my back injury earlier this year. Sorry, geez. That injury is something that I cope with every day. I try my hardest to no sell it. And it's something that it's really just never gonna. It's 4 herniated discs. One of them is extremely serious, and in my lower spine. And it's something I do everything I can to handle that pain. But I'm just the type, and I don't pressure anybody else to be like this, but I'm just the type to where, like, when I go to work, I go to work. I rarely even mention it, unless it's like my friends, but I don't ever go into a match and I'm like, listen, man, my back, like, whatever. I'm just, nah, fuck that. I'm here to work, They brought me in for a reason. I'm blessed for that. I thought it was so cool how I actually had been, like, not prominently on the indies for a long time at that point. Mm-hmm. My first match back was with Frankie Kazarian at Creative Pro. But then, like, that match at Focus Pro was, like, kind of the start of this indie run, if you look at it. Because that was where a promotion that I've never worked for had brought me in after I was away for a while, like the indie-wise, because, like, I pulled off of Beyond Wrestling because of my back. I was in the hospital. Right. I pulled off a Heavy Lies the Crown. And that match, I never met Manny. Or if I have, it was very, like, brief, never, like, had formal conversations or anything. It was just very, like, okay, like, this is somebody I've never worked with before. This is a main event match for the championship. Like, to me, that gives that's a faith that you're giving in an outside guy to, like, because this guy Manny's had, like, a string of these banger matches with, like Buffa and, like, all, whatever. And that, to me, I don't want to go into it saying, like, I don't want fans leaving going, like, telling their friends, like, oh, you could skip this one. Right. This one was okay. And I that's unacceptable to me. Mm-hmm. So I looked at that as a responsibility to myself. Mm-hmm. And I was like, you have this young talent who has so much potential. And, like, Focus Pro is giving them a company giving you their championship, saying you are our guy, is, especially being a young guy, is, like, that is such a stamp of approval. Right. That I feel like my role in that was like, okay, why would you bring in Bear Bronson to work this guy? What is the role here? What is the purpose? And I feel like the purpose was, with my years of experience and my my ability, I feel like I have a tendency to bring out something in people that they didn't even really know they had. And I'm not saying I did with that with Manny. I did bring, because I feel like when I was in there with him, I was like, oh, he's had this already, because I'll work lots of people where they're told afterwards, like, we've never seen you like that before. Mm-hmm. And I take a lot of pride in that, like, bringing that out of people. But when I was working Manny, I was like, oh, he's already got it. Yeah. And that's where you just, it was, instead of being a good match, it was a great match. And that's one that I'm really proud of, because I would say I definitely still had some ring rust at that point. But just, being there with someone that knows what they're doing, great fundamentals,
Yeah.
really brings it. It made me just feel comfortable even being back after an injury. And I remember coming to the back feeling thrilled about that.
Yeah.
I was thrilled. And like again, like I'll even say, like, even before the match, like even still to this day, anytime I go to a promotion, every time I step through the curtain, I assume that nobody knows who the hell I am. Always. Even if they might, that's because I'll have my friends and people that don't tell you the truth. They gas you up and they're like, no, they're gonna love you, you're crazy over you, whatever. I don't view it that way ever. Every time I go out, my mission is to win them over as if they've never seen me before.
Right.
But coming through that curtain and hearing that reaction was very cool. Very, very cool. And it was extremely humbling. So that made the match, like, for me, even just getting into it, just made it even better.
Yeah, shout out to Manny. Manny, I'm coming for you for a podcast soon, just so you know, because it's like, you're so damn good. And like I said, if you
Amazing.
have not
It
watched
really is.
this, go watch this on IWTV and everything.
Please do. Please do.
Gabby's in the chat. Hello, love. Hello.
Is she really?
Yes.
I can't see the chat, but hi, wife.
I want to talk about this because I don't know how many like fans do this, and I have a big habit of doing this at certain promotions and stuff like that. Sean Henderson's one, and he knows I'm very big about this at shows. I love watching, you know, like Sean Henderson was always one that he put on these amazing shows, and I would just sit and watch him because he would come out and have a chair in like kind of like maybe like behind me somewhere, and he'll be watching the matches and just watching his reactions, just like everything to me. Like Perry Von Vish is another one with Delmi XO, like when she had like these big matches and him sitting there watching her. And I've watched you with Gabby since like debut, and I remember like I didn't know who she was or whatever like this, and I was like, the minute she came out, and we talked about this on our podcast, and I just instant love, and I watched you like watch her, you know, at every show like after that I have just watched, like I look for you to like just watch her and be there for her and everything like that. So we have to talk about, you know, that, you know, we have to talk about like, you know, you guys are teaming together, you know, like just going and just be massive supportive. Like, as I always say, like the goal relationship is right here, you know, so give us a little bit about that.
So that is a really funny thing to where like me, it's funny because like when you say I'm always watching, always, but it like it went from being like at first I would say the first year and a half or whatever was like me helping her put together these matches, her like me like kind of overseeing and like just helping her figure things out. And then when you're watching the match and you're chewing your nails down to the bone, like, oh, please let it go well. And it always did. But now it's to a point where, like, I mean, this has been for well over a year now, probably even close to 2 years, where she hasn't needed my help at all. She just goes and she's, like, smarter than me in a lot of aspects when it comes to wrestling, which is wild because I've been a wrestling fan my entire life, doing this consistently for 11 years. And this person who's brand new to wrestling, never a fan, only 3 years into the business, like already knows some things better than me, to where like I'll say an idea and then she's like, I like that, but what about this instead? And I'm like, yeah, wow. Like really just picked it up so quick. So it's I'm never nervous watching her anymore.
Right.
Like, because she's just so comfortable and just like it makes me so proud. But it is fascinating to me watching like the evolution of like how she's been, not only just as a wrestler, but like a worker. Mm-hmm. And what was I gonna say? I would like, I just love, a lot of people don't understand this concept. It's like foreign to them, but I would get a lot of weird looks and conversations when like, because when Gab was starting out, when I was with AEW, not really taking bookings, I'd go to every single show with her. I don't care if it was in Maine, Massachusetts, Ohio for AIW. We drive out 9 hours unbooked because I don't care. I love wrestling so much that I just love being around it. I don't have to be booked. I love watching. If I'm home, I'm watching. If Gabby was booked for a show, I'm driving her. I'll go there. Watch her match, but I'll watch the entire show because I just love it. And I would have these conversations with people. They're like, you drove all the way here unbooked. Like, what's wrong with you? And I'm like, I don't know anything's wrong with me. I just love this so much. I love it so much. And it's kind of sick to a point where, like, I just don't, you can ask my wife when you see it, like, if you talk to her in person, like, I don't really think about other things besides wrestling. Unless I'm, like, with my wife and we're on a date. I'm not that much of a psycho. But, like, I am obsessed with this.
Right.
So, like, it was so exciting to me, like, not only being on, like, my journey, but then, like, I get to just, during my very weird points with AEW and, like, being very unsure of myself, finding complacency and, like, kind of I would never fell out of love with wrestling, but my passion subsided at some point. I put all of my energy into her career and just, like, it made me, I've said this a lot now, like, it made me fall back in love with wrestling all over again. And it just, being along for the ride with her got me just fired up. Got me so fired up. And I feel like that was a huge part that led to where I am now and what's going on now.
I love that. Oh, I love that. You guys get to work together. Like, how
Yeah,
cool is that?
it's crazy.
Like,
Yeah.
Not a lot of people
So
get
crazy.
to do that. I'm like,
yeah.
That's so amazing.
A lot of people don't like to do that either because I have a lot of friends, not a lot of friends, I have select friends that are like, I would hate if I had to spend all this time with my, I'm like, well, maybe you should ask yourself some questions then.
Yeah.
I don't know. I love it. I'm obsessed with it. I never get enough of it.
Oh man, my chat's blowing up. But wait, before I start grabbing more stuff into my chat, we have to talk about this because I also told Bear that, like,
Sure.
I was like, we got to talk about this. We got to talk about you and TJ Crawford. Okay, this is one of my favorite feuds that I've witnessed live. A bunch of places and everything like that.
Yeah.
But years ago, like, you know, TJ's probably like one of my favorite wrestlers. Like, everybody knows that, like, you know, since I started the independents and everything like that. And TJ would come on and he's been on this podcast.
I'm sorry. Wait, this interview is getting hijacked right now.
Oh no.
No way.
Yay.
I was watching your podcast from over there.
Oh, holy shit. We did not plan this.
How are you?
This is crazy.
I don't want to interrupt. I just wanted to get in the car.
Aww. Look at that. Look at that.
I was watching though. I was
like...
watching his lips move and the podcast, and I was like, wow, it's really like there's no delay.
Oh, it's great. This is incredible.
We've upgraded here on
That's
the pod.
crazy.
Look at that. Goals,
Wow.
like I said. Relationship
Really
goals and everything like that.
I don't want to take away. Sorry.
But yeah, so one of the things too, like when TJ's been on this podcast multiple times, he had talked about that you're like one of his best friends and that he always like looked up to you. So I think that's what kind of gave me more of the connection with all these feuds with you with TJ because of this, that I know TJ a long time and everything like that in independent wrestling. So we have to talk about that because between like at Cap and everything like that, that's definitely a match that we have to like talk about.
Yeah, so anytime people ask me the question, like, who was your favorite opponent you've ever been in the ring with? The answer is TJ. That is on all experience levels. That's not like, oh, well, besides this guy, you know. It's no, the answer is solid. It's always TJ. And throughout TJ and I's, like our feuds, but also, like, wrestling at different promotions, we've wrestled each other in different phases of our life. And the Cap feud was one that I felt like elevated us both in terms of like skill, creativity, bringing out the best in each other. But if you look at every one of our matches, they're so different, and you can tell like it's different phases of our life where we're even better than before.
Right.
So it's like, watch our whole feud at Creative Pro with the 2 out of 3 falls, with the Ravens rules. And those are great. Some of my favorite matches ever. And then watch like a year or two later, us at Limitless Wrestling, where we went like 25 minutes or something. And that is one of my favorite singles matches ever. And it's so funny that like we just keep finding ourselves wrestling each other, because like we even just had Wrestling Open against each other, and we keep finding like we have this special bond where we're like, man, we're still each other's best opponents, and we are not the same wrestlers we were as the last time we wrestled. And we keep saying that to each other. And I just feel like everybody in wrestling has their, like, if I'm Kevin Owens, who's your Sami Zayn? And to me, it's TJ. To where it's like we just keep matching each other. And that's like one where, like, I know there was a period in our life where maybe he looked up to me as like somebody to follow and somebody to listen to and all that stuff, but it's not like that anymore. We're very much equal. Even like we just traveled to Canada together for Mystery Wrestling, and like he's a sweetheart, and he, like, you know, still values like my advice and stuff like that, but I don't even look at that as like that type of relationship anymore. It's very much, I look at us as very equal performers, and on talent level, experience level, everything. And I just feel like one day you're going to see him, like, finally somebody is going to realize like, oh, this guy is the fucking shit. And you're going to see him in like New Japan. You're going to see him, like, it's just waiting for that spark to ignite the TNT. So like I'm very excited for when that happens. It's only a matter of time.
Yeah.
And I hope to be the guy that he's wrestling when someone wakes the fuck up and was like, oh my God, we have to jump on this guy.
Yeah. I've been saying this for years. My fans that have been following me for years, have I not been saying that about TJ? That I was like, why is he not signed? Why is he not signed? I'm saying this for years. So let me grab some of this. There's so much going on in this chat. I appreciate you guys. Make sure you.
I can't wait to see it after.
Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you're subscribed to Queen of the Indies Corner too, and make sure you share it. So.
Yeah, I feel bad. I just want to let the chat know I'm not ignoring anybody. But the way that my phone is set up to my car, it's really nice. But if I press chat, it'll screw up this entire thing. So I just don't want anyone to think I'm like ignoring them. Yeah, we don't want to do that.
Let's see. Conrad says in the chat, I agree with you. We need more different body types and pro wrestling. 100%.
100%.
Let's see. Zach says, as someone who's been many of the enhanced Bear has done, based on who he's put against, there's no doubt in the most graceful posts and agile big man. Let's see what else.
Thank you. I do my best.
Good Cop Bad Cop says, we've seen a lot of discussions on 100 men versus one bear, but how many Bear Bronsons would it take to beat a bear?
How many Bear Bronsons would it take? 27.
Wow. You better play that number tonight. Now it's going to come out. We'll go play 027.
It's our number. That's why I said that.
There you go. Go play it. Mike's in the chat. He goes, Bear has been unleashed. Let's fucking go.
Hell yeah.
Cody Brooks is in the chat. He goes, Bear versus Manny is hands down one of my favorite matches I've seen live. Let's see what else. Conrad says, what was behind the look change in AEW Ring of Honor? I thought the masks were terrifying but cool.
It's a great question. So here's the thing. When you get into wrestling, or at least when I did, I've always been very open-minded with change. And even if it was something I didn't like, I just always tried to keep an open mind. And if I'm employed to somewhere and they have an idea, I always thought it was bad. Maybe looking back, I feel like I should have stood up for myself a lot more in a lot of areas. But this was a time period where you would see Bear Country on Rampage losing in a minute, 30 seconds, and it killed us. Like, Bear Country was like dead in the water. Like, it was very confused. Like, those decisions were very confusing. We felt like we were never in a place to say no to things or give some pushback. Maybe we should have, but that was me just being like, no, sir. Yes, sir. I'll do whatever you want, sir. Like, and maybe, you know, I don't know if that's youth or inexperience or just not standing up for yourself. But then you have a time where, while this is happening, you then have the Gates of Agony coming into the company, who are two killers who, in my opinion, are fucking awesome. And I'm like, okay, self-evaluation time. If I'm AEW and I have a spot on Dynamite for a monster tag team, who am I going to use? The Gates of Agony. You're not going to use Bear Country unless they're losing in 30 seconds. So to me, that was like, okay, we can either stay the same and just fizzle out, or we can adjust. And we went through a really weird period where they had changed our name, and to me, it was just, I hated the name. I feel like people tried to be like, oh yeah, that's cool. I don't really know what an Iron Savage is, but like, and I always took that as like, okay, well, maybe that's something for me to figure out. I don't know. I'll do it's my job though, so I'll do my best. And then when we got paired up with Jack Jameson, there was an idea to make us more like gym rats that like eat fast food and like don't follow what their trainer says. Because Jack Jameson's one of the most impressive physiques I've ever seen in my life. And I was like, okay, like, my heart isn't like in this. But again, like, if somebody is giving me an opportunity or somebody is giving me an idea, I'm always prone to saying like, okay, let me give it my best shot, even if I don't like it. And that is where we had that was me. And I feel like if there was any good thing about the Iron Savages for my career, it really opened me up to crowds as far as like just letting loose. Because we went with the gym rat thing. Like, that was a time period where I tried coining the term like fat jacked. And like, I would say that the biggest change was when we were working the Guns and Juice Robinson on Collision, I believe. Collision or Dynamite, I'm not sure. And there was a moment where I gave the crowd is chanting ass boys, ass boys, ass boys. And I gave Austin Gunn a shoulder tackle, and I didn't even plan this. I just did it just because we were in this position where like, I really don't know what we are. I don't know who we are. And we're just kind of being silly. And I looked at him and I said, you can call me ass boy because and then I motorboated. And that was something that took fire. And I felt like that was a key moment in where I realized like, okay, if there's any upside to this gimmick change that I haven't been thrilled about, the upside's going to be that I could really let loose and kind of just like do and say things that I want. And I started being more vulgar. Yeah. And just to kind of like make the gimmick something that I wanted it to be.
Right.
And whether people liked it or they didn't like it, they certainly were talking about it.
Right.
Certainly were talking about it, no matter how much it was ignored. because it was ignored. Let's be real, please. And that was, if there's any upside to the Iron Savages, it was that. It really brought out my comfortability in front of crowds. Because there was a time period there where, like, we were being just super vulgar, being jobbers all the time. And they'd put us out on Dynamite or whatever. And I'd have zero nerves. I wouldn't give a shit. Like, they literally put us out, gave Jack Jameson a microphone, and were like, just entertain the crowd until we come back from commercial. We had the place shaking. Like, we were just being ridiculous. So that helped a lot. But as a, like, I think the answer was like, why did we change? It was a lot of things, but those are the main key points. And no, I don't regret it. Everything happens for a reason. Timing is like the most important thing, and I would say my entire career, my entire life, really. And yeah,
here we are.
Here we are, and everything worked out anyway. So
everything happens for a reason. I 100% believe that.
Yeah.
Desmond Cole's in the chat. He goes, "My dog, one of the
Ooh,
best guys I know in the biz. Can't wait to tear it up with him." All right.
Yeah, dude.
Let's talk about that, because the fact that I can't tell you how many wrestlers messaged me. I was like, make sure you tell him on the pod. I want to work him. Landon Hale was one. He said first, he goes, tell him I want to give him a hug. He goes, and then we got to get into the ring. Like Calvin Dumont said it the other day, and it's like, and I'm sure
Very
more
cool.
wrestlers are going to pop into this chat and they're going to say it too, or whatever. How does that feel to know that, like, now you're like one of the most desired wrestlers back in the indies, that like everybody wants to get in that ring with you now?
Those are the things you dream of, and I feel like that's something I lost touch with for a really long time. Like, and I'll get completely honest here. Like, there was that time in AEW where we really weren't doing much, only Ring of Honor stuff, like, kind of for the most part. And I'd go to, like, if Gabby was booked for like AIW or something, or an indie out of New York far, I'd take the ride with her and whatever, and we'd go there, and there'd be people I haven't seen in years, and they're like, "Hey, like, how you been?" Like, and there was almost that aura of like, "Are you still wrestling?" Or like, "What have you been up to? Like, are you still with AEW?" And I'm like, "Yeah," like, and they're like, "Oh, well, what do you do? What have you been wrestling?" And I'm like, "Oh, I wrestle on Ring of Honor," and they go, "Oh." Because there's that, like, no, let's be real, like, no one watches that. So, like, it's just being real. And there was that, like, it's very cool. It was very cool for people to be excited to see me again for the first time in a long time, whatever. But people really didn't know, like, what we were up to. So, like, now, taking my career back and all this stuff, like, being hit up all the time, and people, I was fucking flattered the other day when, I was excited. I saw C4 as me versus Dom Guarini, and I'm like, oh man, I've only done tag with him. I've never, like, actually wrestled him one-on-one. And when I got there and they had told me, like, yeah, he requested this match, I was like, bro, like, these are things that, like, you dream of. You dream of having this reputation with people. And people can get really carried away in wrestling with, like, and this is something I learned, it's not all about the money. I think what's more valuable than money is, like, how well you're respected amongst your peers and amongst a community. And I really, like, people can just say that and you go, oh yeah, like, whatever. But, like, with that experience, I know that now more than ever. So hearing, like, people, like, want to wrestle you is extremely, extremely rewarding. And it's validating, and it's like, okay, I feel like I'm doing the right thing again. So it's very exciting. And I got all the free time in the world now, so
book them. Promoters,
yeah,
book them.
Let's do it.
Let's make it happen. Let's get some match. I'm here for all of it. This chat is blowing up. I'm never gonna get to any of my questions. Mercer says your makeup looks great today. Yes, I did the bisexual flag makeup today. So like shout out to Pride Month and everything. So and then I have the flag on the screen as well. So thank you. John's in the chat. He says, "Hey Bear, who's your favorite ring announcer that has announced your entrance?" Ooh.
Oh. Man. I feel like the hard part about this is I'm going to leave someone out.
Yeah. We love you all. But it's hard to be on the spot, just so you know when you're doing like these podcasts. It's hard.
Oh, so real quick, not to interrupt that question, but I just on my screen I just see my face, your face. But I'm looking at this now and I'm like, this is so cool. You killed this.
Thank you.
For the dancing bear, and that's
Yes.
excellent. Who's my favorite ring announcer that's ever? I feel like everyone does. I've never really met someone that hasn't done a great job. Like, oh man, maybe Rich Palladino.
We love Rich.
Maybe love Rich, but also like Ryan Peterson and oh man,
so many goats.
I'm gonna feel so bad after this interview when I think of somebody. I'm like, oh,
He's gonna wind up retweeting it, like tagging people. Just so
yeah, I'm gonna tag a bunch
guys.
of people.
Sorry.
Love everybody. I love everybody. Major CTE hitting right now.
All right, what else? By the way, there's 170 people watching this live. Thank you guys.
Let's go.
Appreciate
Thank you guys for watching.
So, Good Cop Bad Cop says hashtag Good Cop moment. Bear and Gabby versus Speedball and Vita last year in New Jersey.
Yes.
Hashtag Bad Cop moment. No March table. But did you guys come out just as my song and I had to leave for the Rolling Stones concert? Aww.
We didn't have merch yet.
We did not have merch yet. We do now,
Yes.
but we did not have merch yet.
That's funny.
That is still our favorite Savage Gnomes match to this day.
Yes, definitely. Really,
love
really good.
Speedball and Veda Scott so much. We love them.
Mike says the way Bear watches Nomi during her matches, you can tell how much he loves her. I love that. Wes is in the chat. He goes, "Hey Bear, my son Kyle West," and Rocco says hi. Much love to you.
Rocco and Wes, yeah.
Let's see. I'm trying to get to everybody. I'm sorry. There's so many comments. So I know
love it.
They like my dancing bear. Thank you.
Yeah, me too.
Good Cop Bad Cop says 30 minutes in and no food questions. It's a new Queen of the Indies. I'm sorry. We'll get to some food questions. Jesus. Zach says if TJ is your Sami Zayn, what is your ideal tag team concept for you two?
So I'll probably think of something better later as far as like gimmick or like a team name sort of thing, but the dynamic is certainly there. Where TJ has some of the best strikes I've ever seen in wrestling and I've ever felt in wrestling. And I kind of had this dynamic a little bit. The fans at C4 got to see it where like I was in a 6-man tag with Uno and Kevin Blackwood and TJ have very similar styles. And one of the things we did in the match that we just thought it was cool, so I did it. But the fans went absolutely nuts over me gorilla pressing Junior and high up in the air. And we did a soup. All I did was just drop him right in front of Kevin, who gave him a GTS.
Yeah.
Like I did the fireman's carry version of the part of the move for him. All I did was just drop him into his knee. And I was just like, bam, clash of styles right there. So as far as like, if TJ and I were a team, woo.
Yeah, make this happen.
Woo,
I'm surprised it hasn't happened.
Yeah, I just think we'd have to really put our heads together as far as like why. But if you just get that why,
yeah,
man, fire.
Let's go. Let's make this happen. All right, here, I'll go to the food questions that you guys want because I had some fan tweets on it. David said, would love to hear about your food intake and cheat day meals.
Cheat day. Cheat day meals. Every day that ends in Y. Yeah, I've just gotten to a point now where like I really have taken the past few years to experiment with my body a lot. I've gotten to my absolute heaviest. I got to my absolute leanest. Found that middle ground that I like, and then some.
Mhm.
um, and my body right now, I'm at like my heaviest ever was 305.
Mhm.
My leanest was 236, and to where I'm very happy I could say I could do that. That was a cool accomplishment, but also I just wasn't comfortable there because I like being a bigger guy and I like being strong and I just like being a bigger guy and I really like to eat too. So I hover at about like 280, 285 now, and it's my favorite my body's ever been. Yeah, my belly's back. I'll never see those ab lines ever again.
You're married
but
now, so it's okay. Like,
yeah, who cares? Yeah, it's great. She loves it, so it's like that's all that really matters at the end of the day. But I'm like the most comfortable I've ever been with my body. That's why I take the straps down now in like every match because I'm just like confidence is there with that. Meals though, because I know that's
Yeah.
what you want to hear. But my favorite fast food. I love Chick-fil-A and Wendy's. And
Oh, is it
I would
today's
say,
free
like-
Frosty Day? Today's free Frosty Day in the app.
is it? Oh
Yes.
shit! Oh, we're going. But like, anytime Gab and I look at each other and we're like, sushi, yeah. Like we go to all you can eat sushi, and we just absolutely tear it up. We tear it the fuck up.
Man, congratulations though, like on your weight loss journey, because I feel that was definitely something that, you know, is so inspiring, you know, for people. And it's hard. I know me and Gabby had talked about, like, you know, working out. You know, that was a big question on my podcast when we did it. Like, how do you get into, you know, working out? What's good, you know? So, you know, I don't know if you want to give, like, you want to add anything to that for anybody that wants to, like, maybe, you know, lose some weight, maybe that they want to get into wrestling, you know?
Yeah. So I would say, like, if I've learned anything, it's pick a goal and pick a goal that you want to do for you, whether that's lose weight, whether it's get stronger, whether that's because no matter what, even if you don't know in what direction to go, it's like at least you're advancing in some way rather than just staying the same. Because if you're unhappy with how you are right now and you just don't do anything about it, you're gonna just it's not going to get better. You're just going to stay unhappy.
Right.
So I would just pick something, even if it's you want to get bigger, just, you know, pick some weights to just progress or advance forward. Like I remember I did a Samoa Joe seminar like 10 years ago, and I was just asking him about my body. Like, hey, like, do you recommend to like get bigger, get small, like get leaner, whatever? He looked at me and he's like, just lift. And I was like, okay, but like, lift to like shred up or lift to get bigger? He's like, just lift, something's gonna happen. And I was like, true, it's more than what I'm doing now.
Yeah.
So like, you know, so I was just like, I thought that was great.
Yeah.
And then if the question is like, did the last part of that say like for wrestling?
Well, no, I was just asking about it, and
Oh,
like maybe
sure,
you know
sure.
you can add to it like with wrestling too, you know, because there are people that pop in here, you know, like maybe they're
Yeah.
training or you know fans are curious, you know.
Yeah, so I would just say like my ultimate thing is working towards a point that you are comfortable with. Because there's so many different flavors in wrestling where it's like they really want you to be lean or they really want you to be big, and or you're like just work to a point that you're most comfortable at, because if fans can feel that you are confident, you're going to look better. So just work to whatever serves your confidence, and just make sure you're working on your cardio too, because that's important. So
Definitely.
for your heart, you know.
Love that. Cody in the chat says, question for Bear and Gabby. Who are some teams that you haven't wrestled yet but want to in the future?
Ooh.
Gabby's like, whatever. Anybody? I'm here for it.
Intergender or
Whatever
just
your
teams
heart
in general?
desires, we're gonna go with.
I don't know their team name, but Lanie Luck and her husband would be fun.
That would be awesome.
I forgot
That would be awesome.
their names. But
I don't know their team name, but that would be awesome.
we still haven't wrestled TJ and Love Doug.
Mm.
Oh
That
yeah,
was
because
the-
my back injury.
Yes, I was there for that. Was sad, but you guys sent the shooter
Ah.
voice, so
Yes, we did.
I would have loved. I don't. This can't happen now, unless it can. I don't know. I would like us versus like a flippy team, like
Miracle Jen.
Miracle Gen,
Oh my god.
or like I love like Jordan Oliver and Nick Wayne.
Oh,
That would
cool.
be that would go crazy, or like us versus like Kevin Koo and Dom Garini,
Mhm.
like a real strong, hard hitting match. We're definitely leaving out some. I feel like after this we're gonna be like, fuck.
Well, isn't Alec Price and Jordan Oliver a team right now?
yes,
Yes, they are.
That'd
Yes.
be
Oh, that would
GC
be
dub.
sick because you wrestled Alec, and
yeah.
oh my god, that'd be so sick.
I'd be here for
trying to
some
think of
Bojack and Diego Hill.
Oh man, yeah. So I feel like there's so many I'm not even thinking about. Or like, I haven't said any intergender, but like,
Can't think of any. I guess there aren't that many intergender tag teams.
there really aren't. Yeah,
There's a lot of
Yeah.
people on the indies. There's a lot.
there's a lot. There's a lot. And I
There's
know
so
after
much.
this I'm gonna be like, God damn.
Well, you're just gonna have to come back. That's just it. You know, like that's what it is. You're gonna have to come back on the pod for that.
100%. I would love to. I would
let me-
absolutely love to.
Wait, there's so many more questions. Let's see. We had
Yeah.
Good Cop Bad Cop he had posted a fan tweet. He says, "As I cannot find an appropriate anagram question for Bear Bronson," which he did earlier. So kudos to you. He goes, "With manage those veg." He says, "Being an anagram of the Savage Gnomes, what vegetables are you incorporating into your diet, and which veggies can you simply not stand no matter how good they are for you?"
I think they eat vegetables. Ah! No. What vegetables?
Boy, do we love potatoes.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. I was thinking of greens, but yeah,
I know. I mean, that's what you should.
we destroy potatoes
Yeah,
for sure.
in all forms.
In all
the
forms, all the time.
time.
I like broccoli. Broccoli's
yeah.
great.
I feel like broccoli, like sweet peas, beans.
If all vegetables were like the fresh vegetables we had when we were on our honeymoon in Jamaica,
Oh my god,
then I would eat vegetables every fucking day.
so good.
But
Yeah,
they're not.
vegetables don't taste as good in America. I've
Yes.
learned.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever I travel, it's pretty much all I eat because they taste so good in
Yeah.
other countries.
Because they're not from here.
Yeah,
That's
so
what it is.
they're like not imported.
Mhm.
So yeah, in America it's pretty tough. But anytime I go to Italy, hopefully you come to Italy with me this
Yes.
year. If we have a European tour or something, we'll eat a lot of vegetables.
There
but
you go.
home we really just kind of bare bones it.
Yeah, a lot of
Bare
rice.
bones.
A lot of rice.
A lot of carbs.
Which a lot of carbs. I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Zach
rice is
says,
vegetable.
never-ending saga with the monarchy. Now he just tagged Todd from Proving Ground.
So true.
Holy shit! Oh yeah, hell yeah.
We have wrestled them.
No,
Yes, we have.
I helped you. No, we did wrestle. Oh, it was sick.
Been chaotic, and it was so fun.
I was thinking about when I helped jump when I helped you when they were jumping you after your match with Paris, and
Oh yeah, that happened.
yeah, I was thinking about that. I think, but the match was great, but it was very. I was not like Bear Bronson then.
Mhm.
I was very like Iron Savages. Like now,
Yeah, we'll have to face them again.
we'll have to do that again. That would be so good.
I was also really new and scared.
Yeah, you're very new, and we're just so much different than we're both so much different than who we were. So-
Yeah, and we're just gonna keep on going with it.
Keep running it back.
Another fan tweet, Conrad left. What is one piece of advice you give talent transitioning from indies to television? And then he said, if you could make one food guilt-free, what would you pick and why?
Okay, so the first one, let's do the second one. Let's get that out of the way.
Ice cream,
Ice cream,
for sure.
100% ice cream. If that was guilt free, I mean, I eat it guilt free anyway.
Yeah.
I wish I
But so the first question, making the transition from indies to TV, the biggest thing is going to be cameras. cameras and being able to on the fly listen to directions as far as like time cuts, just certain directions. It's TV is an entirely different animal than independence. Because when you're working for independence, you are very much just working for that crowd that's there, and that's it. But for TV, yeah, the crowd's there and you are working to entertain them, but your main focus is on that lens, because in that lens is the mass viewers.
Right.
So everything has to be towards them, and TV it's live TV. So that is where, you know, you just have to listen to what's being told and you have to adjust. So if you are a wrestler that is not good at things like going on the fly or being able to call it in the ring, that is something you definitely want to get better at. I'm not saying you get the best at it. I'm not the greatest at it either. No, I'm pretty great at it actually. But you want to develop that tool, because that's going to come in handy, and that's where you'll really shine as a worker.
Definitely. I think that's good advice too, because I see you guys, even like when I do videos too, like a lot of you guys like purposely look for me because you know I post clips.
Sure, all the time.
It's so funny because I see it all the time that people like look for me and then they come up and start like whatever it is with me in the front row and shit, just so I can like post it. So I feel like
yeah, absolutely.
So I think that's a great thing. But I feel like also, since like you're talking about that, because, you know, we talked a little bit about Creator Pro and everything like that, and like you are one of the trainers there, you know, so like how is that also to like transitioning from here? It was, like you said, 10 years ago, you know, and then you started, you know, training and everything like that, and now you're one of the ones that are helping the next up and coming, you know, classes and students, you know, walking in and out of the doors.
Oh man, it's wild, and it's become like a separate part of my life where like I'm utilizing everything that I have learned in this time, and being a part of like at first you're a trainer just because you like, I would say the initial reasoning is because like, one, you want to give people like me, I want to give back to the place that gave me everything. And then two, it's being a trainer is a great way to stay sharp with your fundamentals. And because even the best wrestlers in the entire world that are world champions and stuff, they still go to training in front of nobody, and they still put in the work and do the drills. So it's a great way to stay sharp. But then along the way, as you're like, you're there for somebody's day one. It's almost like, I'm not a parent, so I feel like this is out of place for me to say, but it's almost like being a parent. Like,
you raise someone.
You literally are raising somebody in a world that you have experience in, but they have zero experience in. And they really do become like a reflection of you. So it's extremely rewarding. There's good things, there's bad things, you know, because again, it is like being a parent. I've never had this with Gab because everyone loves her, but if there was ever a time where someone was like, hey, your student's good, but he's got a bit of an attitude, and they hit me up and they're like, you know, I just want to let you know, like whatever, it's almost like on you as a parent to be like, oh, I gotta whip them into shape, you know, and then they're better for it after. And then they end up learning, you know, and you don't scream and yell or kick them out of the school or anything like that. And it's a great, it almost like helps you form yourself into an adult more. And like, okay, like, listen, this isn't all play and this isn't all fun. Like, it's things you have to have tough conversations, because then there's other students too, like, not even about that, like there's students that have a harder time finding their way, and you kind of feel that responsibility of like helping them see things clearer. And that's a really, I would say it's a delicate position that I take a lot of pride in having. So
it's pretty cool to see. Pretty cool. Love that.
Sure.
Dominic wants to know, what is your favorite book?
My favorite book has to be Mick Foley's book, Have a Nice Day. Have a nice day. It's gotta be my favorite.
It's really, really good. Eric in the chat says, can let him know that I'm extremely interested in seeking him at Cage of Survival this weekend. Appreciate the work he puts in recently. Thank you, he said.
You are in for hell of an experience. It's gonna be great.
I have the flyer up here.
I'm happy. I'm very happy people are excited about that, because the debut is scary, especially in front of a crowd like GCW, where I know I'm gonna have to win them over, you know. So
I don't think it's gonna be that hard, to win them over.
We'll see. Like I said before, I
so.
always assume, you know, I never take anything for granted. So I'm very much looking forward to.
It's gonna be
You're
really,
gonna head
really
out?
good.
Okay.
That's gonna be.
Well, Gabby's gonna exit quick, but
okay. Bye, Gabby.
Bye, guys.
Love and bye.
I'll see you.
I am still here.
Another thing that I definitely wanted to bring up, and like this was one of my questions, I want to make sure where is it. I definitely want to also talk about like limitless wrestling. So shout out to Randy. I always like to give him love and everything like that. You know, like there's just amazing matches. There's so much going on up there. You know, like especially like after COVID. Like shout out to John Alba, because that's how I kind of found out about Limitless. Like me and John Alba had the whole conversation and everything. But like you've worked people like Dirty Dango, Anthony Green, like and again there's so much amazing talent that's like working up there. So give us a little bit, working Limitless.
With Limitless Wrestling, it's so cool because they are one of the top companies that like took a chance on Gabby early, and I've taken note of who has. And it's always just, it's good outside of the professionalism. It's good to remember who was there for you. And Limitless, as well as like Beyond, like Limitless is one of those places that took a chance on Gabby very early. Even when when they started taking Gabby on, like they saw something in her despite her being very green and very inexperienced, and it has rewarded her, or like it has done so much of her career. I feel like her growth has been exponential because of places like Limitless Wrestling. So me just always going there to support and whatever, I found myself getting to a point where I was like, their energy and their environment is so infectious to where, like, sure, like, I don't know, you look at it like a Limitless show next to an AEW show, and you're like, oh, one's bigger than the other, or whatever. And it's just, when you're there, man, it's not. Like, they're just different. TV and like a Limitless wrestler, they're just different. Yeah. They hit different. The feels are different. The feeling you have when you're out there, and then when you get to the back after a match is different. And like, I don't take those spots for granted at all, because at a place like Limitless Wrestling, where it's so, wrestlers from all over the world are trying so hard to get to a place like that. Any spot that you get is taking a spot away from someone else, no matter what level you're on. And that's the harsh reality, but like, I don't take those things for granted. So even though I am not where I'm at, well, now I'm trying to really show out, but like, even before that, like, anytime now that Randy has like given me a chance, or he putting me on a show, I very much don't take that for granted. Like, I would never take an opportunity like that and be like, oh yeah, I got this Limitless booking, I'm going to go there, make my money, and then leave. It's like, no way, man. Like, I'm lucky to be given a spot like that and be given a chance like that. For Randy, I've had conversations with him where he's been like, man to man, like, what do you want to do?
Right.
And it hit me like a ton of bricks, where I'm like, oh man, for somebody to see that talent in you and be like, he's really the one that face to face has asked me that question. Like, no, everything aside, what do you want? What is the wrestler that you want to be? And that moments like that have changed everything for me, changed my entire mindset. So I'm very I'm so grateful for guys like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Shout out to Randy. It's like I always have to put him up. I've been up there like once and it's such a far ride and like I'd like to go.
That's so fun, man.
Um,
always
but-
worth the drive.
Yeah. Like if you guys have not gone, it's worth the trip. The fans, like just the experience, being a fan and sitting in those chairs and being around other fans who just love wrestling is
Love
everything.
And a locker
Everything.
room. And a locker room that is passionate.
Yeah.
Passionate.
So definitely amazing. So much love to him. Nikki's in the chat. She goes, yo, everyone hire Bear. Victor's in the chat. Heel pops and chair shots. Shout out to you.
You're
Gotta do the New York thing. The Queens girl. Gotta do the Limitless is one of my favorite shows to watch. So much amazing talent, and the vibes come through on IWTV. Definitely, Eric. Zach says Bear's gonna get the cup. Look at that.
That would be sick.
So
That would be sick.
A lot of great things. I have one final question for you. If you guys have more, drop them into the chat. I'm sure I missed stuff, so I'll go back after my question, but it's a very important question on this podcast. And we have over 200 people watching this podcast. I love you guys. Again, make sure you hit the like button, make sure you subscribe, share the stream, and all that fun stuff. I appreciate you. So, something very important on this podcast that I asked everybody on this is wrestling with positivity. As we know, wrestling can be very negative and stuff like that.
Oh my God. You should have seen the tweets before I got on this.
Oh God. But I like to focus on the positives. So with that being said, is there anything that you could share? Something that maybe you've done for a fan, or maybe a fan's done for you, maybe you've done for a wrestler, or something maybe a wrestler's done for you. But like I said, like anything that, comes to mind that we wouldn't know unless you shared with us.
There's plenty.
I'm sure.
There's plenty, and I'm
Yeah.
going to miss someone, and it's going to break my heart.
But like I said, you're just going to have to come back on the podcast and just share more, because there's always going to be positivity stories. So, but it's very important on my podcast.
Is one of them, you said wrestler to wrestler, that's one of them?
Whatever, yeah, anything, yeah.
I hope I don't get in trouble for this. I was going to keep this to the chest, but I'm going to say it. When we had our enhancement match against the Patriarchy, Nick Wayne, Luchasaurus, Christian Cage, that was the same week I came out as bisexual. And I'm really going against his heel character here. So I'm going to get a lot of flack for this, but I think it's worth it. I saw all three of them standing together. And I walked up. We walked up because when you're enhancement talent, you see them by the ring. You're like, okay, they must be ready to go over it. So you go up to them, and Christian looked at me and said, before we talk about anything about the match, I have to talk to you. And I was like, okay. And he said, I want you to know I am so insanely proud of you for coming out and speaking your truth. And I can't imagine how scary that is. But for you to be in, because there's a lot of details that I had put in, I had a lot of feelings of like, well, what's even the point? What's the point of there's a lot of conflicting feelings when you are somebody that is in the closet with these things. And he pulled me away from the entire group, my group and their group. He pulled me away. And before even talking about the match, we talked for a good half hour to where I didn't even think somebody like him, he's not a very social guy. So I didn't even think he'd care. I didn't think he'd care. I didn't even know if he'd seen it. Like, cause you don't picture him as somebody that's like looking on social media or something. But when he, I got to tell him about like my parents, I got to tell him about my wife, I got to tell him about like all this stuff, and he just listened, and he said a lot of really uplifting and like inspiring things that I will never forget. And again, that is completely going against the piece of shit character that he is on TV. And if this was a number of years ago where kayfabe was a little more protected, I would have never done this. But I think I'm at a point where like, I don't care, man. I want to, like, it's one of the greatest things that people have ever said to me. And, that is something to where like, I remember walking away from that and just thinking like, it hit me even like harder than like actually coming out and like people being like, oh, good for you, all this stuff. Like that conversation with him where he said it about like 20 times. He was like, I am so proud of you. And I was like, I've never talked to him before ever. So it was just so cool. It was just so cool. It was one of the most uplifting experiences I've ever had in my life.
This is like such a beautiful thing, and like, like I can't thank you enough for sharing that like on this podcast. Like really.
I really want, and again, like I had a lot of conflicting like emotions about talking about that because I care about him a lot and I love the character that he's pursued. Like I love his heel work. I think it's incredible. But selfishly, I want the world to know how he felt about that. Because it's amazing. I immediately called my parents and I was like, man, this is somebody that I watched growing up, that I had his figure. I had multiple versions of his figures. And to be, man, gives me like, it was crazy. It was crazy.
No, like, wow. Like, I have chills.
I really don't.
I have chills.
It was one of those things where having this conversation, I'm like, I cannot believe this is happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That amazing. Again, thank you. Like,
wrestling's full of some very shitty, disgusting people. But I think it's important to know the fucking angels that are out there too.
Yeah.
And if he hears this and it goes against his heel character, I'm sorry. But I want people to know.
Yeah.
Selfishly, I want people to know how great he is.
It's very impactful, and like I said, anybody who follows my podcast knows, again, this is such a big thing of, Queen of the Indies Corner and everything like that. So I can't thank you again. Like, I'm proud of you. Like, you got so much love and support from, the wrestling community when you came out and everything like that. Like, it was amazing to see, so congrats, on
Thank
that
you.
too.
I'm very lucky. Very, very lucky.
Conrad in chat says respect, bro. Chris Sanders in the chat, what's going on? He said big fan. Love that.
Hell yeah, Chris.
All right, let me make sure that I got all these questions. Again, we're rocking. We're almost at 250 people watching this live. Like, that's
incredible.
Crazy to me. So
let's go.
Thank you guys. Again, just let me make sure. I'm scrolling all the way back.
That means that Christian story is definitely getting out there. So it's all right.
Oh crap!
No,
the dirt sheets.
It's
the dirt sheets.
Yeah.
I'm not about the dirt sheets. So,
That's
let's
okay.
see. Zach,
no, you know what? Real quick, I will say, like, the dirt sheets get a lot of flack.
Yeah.
But not that I don't want to get into the Boulder stuff.
Yeah.
But I will say the Sean Ross Saps, the PW Insiders, they all, before breaking the news, they all reached out to me to see if I was okay. And I thought that was so cool to see if I was okay and if my wife was okay. Like, it's like, hey, if you need anything, please let us know. If you are unhappy with any of the things that we report, please let us know. I was like, man, I didn't know that's some great stuff.
Yeah. There's decent
Some real
people,
like listen,
period.
they have a job. They have a job that they have to do. They have to report news, good or bad, and they have the very poor position of like catching a lot of flack at times. And I just think that's another case where I'm like, people should know that I had a great, not a great experience. That was a very tough time, but like that meant the world to me.
Yeah,
It
definitely.
really did.
No, I love that. I love that. All right, let me see. I want to make sure I get to like everybody. I'm trying not to ignore. There's so much like going on in the chat. I missed this one. Sam in the chat says, "Do you think about wrestling in MLW or TNA?"
Sure. Oh my goodness. Everywhere. I would love to.
Book them. Definitely book them. There's plenty. That's one of the things that like, you know, I love the indies so much. And I think one of my things is sometimes like, and I get it, like I've had this conversation with Dante Drago, whatever, like that. Like I was like, sometimes someone like me that watches so much different wrestling in general of the indies, like all over the place, I was like, sometimes like I get like bored of seeing the same people wrestling each other over and over and over again. And
Yeah,
I'm like,
no, 100%.
I want different stuff. There's so many wrestlers out there. Like bring a talent in, you know, to like somewhere like of a regular place and let them blow up, because there's matches with people that like I beg for that I can tell that will be amazing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like Darian Hardway is one that I've been saying for years that I want him to wrestle Gabby, because I was like, it's just an easy written story here, right? Like it's just like,
Sure.
but like no one's really gonna book it. Like just okay, I'm just gonna put a promotion together and just book like crazy talent.
Yeah, right.
I would love to just mesh different styles and people that haven't, like first time matches. There's so much. So
Sure.
we need more of that.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
Definitely need more of
Absolutely.
that. Let me see what else. Worth in the chat says book on TNA, my particular favorite, although I watch a lot of different promotions. Zach says, who is your Mount Rushmore of I'm Bear and I need to wrestle them tomorrow? Ooh.
Wow. Fuck.
Zach's coming with the hard-hitting questions.
I'm going to give you two separate Mount Rushmores, okay? One of them is going to be my deathmatch wrestling Mount Rushmore. This is just in general, not even that, like, I'm not even a deathmatch wrestler yet.
Right.
But for me, I'm going to give you the deathmatch one. It's Tremont, Nick Gage, John Wayne Murdoch. And either one of the Kogars. Either one of the Kogars. Now the standard
Yeah.
professional wrestling, or regular, or you know, I need to wrestle them tomorrow. Jake something,
Okay. Yes. Let's go.
Santana. Oh man, this like I'm just like firing off.
It's hard on the spot, guys. You know. Listen, I'm gonna push for Adam Priest because I want Adam Priest to wrestle everybody.
Sure. Sure. That's awesome. Sure. That would be sick. That would be so sick. Yeah, let's put him.
Ooh,
Adam
Bojack.
Priest and sure. Like, I mean,
There's a million people.
Calvin Tankman.
Hell yeah. Let's go.
Sure. There's a good four right there.
Yeah,
There's
it's
a
all
good four right
different.
there.
All different stuff. Let's see. Meds in the chat says, love Bronson, one of the dudes that got me into local indie wrestling. Generally stand-up dude at every show I've met him at. Look at that.
Let's go.
Let me see. I want to make sure I'm trying to get everything in this chat because like I don't want anybody to feel like left out. I'm trying.
No, it's awesome.
Yeah, and I'm scrolling up because I feel like I missed stuff because the chat was going like so quick, and then like I said, like we're at like 250 people in there or whatever, so I just want to make sure. I think I like saw, where was it? Let's see. Zach said earlier, 2018, XWA, West Warwick, Rhode Island was when I first witnessed Bronson, and to see his evolution from the mop head times is now incredible.
Nice. Awesome.
So it's really, really cool. I think I got everybody. I'm making sure. So, Charlotte in chat says, can I ask what Bear thinks about Dark and Elevation? I love the possibility to know new wrestlers and some episodes where nothing less than what was broadcast as top tier products, in my opinion.
We loved Dark. We loved Dark and Elevation. I wish that never went away.
Yeah.
It was great. We all looked at it as prime opportunities because like TV spots are so rare for you to, especially on such a loaded roster, that like you could show up and like, because of, I've had some amazing matches because of Dark and Elevation. I've got to wrestle fucking Darby Allin in front of like thousands of people in the main event of Elevation with Sting at ringside. And if it wasn't for Elevation, no way was I getting that match. You know, I've gotten to wrestle. Oh man, gotten to wrestle Takeshita. I've gotten to wrestle. Oh man, I could just keep going. Wardlow, the Brian Cage. You know, Joey Janela. The list just goes on and on.
Yeah.
To where it's like, oh man, like we had it good with that. That was a great show.
Yeah. Really, really
And
good stuff.
And Ring of Honor too. It's Ring of Honor is full of loaded talent that just want to work. They just want to give you a good show. But I think it's just being behind that different service and not being on YouTube, and it just makes it harder, and it just feels a little less accessible, and everyone feels that way.
Definitely.
Dark and Elevation were sick. We all loved it.
The good old days, right?
It was, yeah, it really was. It was so sick.
Max is in the chat. She goes, BoJack versus Bear would go nuts.
Yeah.
I'd love to see that. Shout out to BoJack too. Really, really, really good.
It'd be sick.
Mike says Bear's hungry. He wants meat.
Always.
Good Cop, Bad Cop says, Gabby's in the chat, asks, how long is this podcast? Can I have my husband back?
She knows I love the real problem is me because she knows I'm a yapper.
Oh, okay. So
I love to talk.
We'll come to like an end. So let me get the. All right. So Zach told me I have to ask the cereal question because it's like the infamous question on this podcast that you know sometimes I get yelled at. Which actually this started with Conrad, so I get yelled at for a question that started from one of the fans. So, do you pour your cereal in first and then your milk, or do you put your milk in first and then your cereal?
100% cereal first. Do people really do the other way?
Yeah. Yeah. It's been live on this podcast.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100% cereal first.
Yeah. Yeah, we've had that. It's become a staple on this podcast. So,
So funny.
Conrad said sorry. It's all good. It's all good. All right. So okay. So we have, like I said, GCW is coming up this weekend. So you guys can watch that on Thriller if you're not going to be there live in Atlantic City at the Showboat. So definitely check that out. You know, big fan of Slade. You're not too shy knowing him either through the years and everything like that. So this should be a good one, pretty much.
Yeah, that one I'm so excited.
This is good.
I can't. I'm like counting the days, to be honest.
Ooh, we're almost there. Couple more days.
Almost there.
Couple more days. Anything else you have coming up that that you can share for if the fans want to come see you and stuff?
No specific dates, but because they're on my phone and reason for this. But I'll be returning to obviously Limitless Wrestling, Beyond Wrestling. Gabby and I have been we've been really breaking him back into C4 Wrestling in Ottawa, which is such a blast. You can find us regularly on Wrestling Open. And there's gonna be a lot more. And I'll make sure I really pump it out there. But got a lot of very exciting stuff coming up.
So if they're not following you, which they should be following you already, just tell everybody, like, you know, where they can follow you to, like, you know, see you and stuff.
Sure. So you can follow me on Instagram at Bear Bronson _. I know it's weird, but I feel like at this point I've changed it so many times with different gimmick changes and stuff. So that's what it is. And on Twitter, it's always been at Bear Bronson BC. And you can go on Pro Wrestling Tees. I'll be having new designs up. They're so sick. I'm so excited for them. And yeah.
Definitely. I have all those links in the description for you guys too. Matt Awesome's in the chat. He goes, Bear is awesome. And he says, we want Bear versus Jadziez. So, oh boy. See, they're coming for you. Everybody's coming for you.
Everyone's good. I got a lot to dish out.
Oh, Zach says, can you talk a little bit about doing mystery wrestling before you go?
Absolutely. So that was so fun because a fan did pick up on, I screwed up this. Well, no, I poorly planned this travel. Pretty, you know, because Canada trips are one thing, but this was, I think, the first time I've ever had 2 trips in 1 week, in one weekend, because I had done C4 in Ottawa. And I had Create Pro planned for the next day in Melville, Long Island, New York. They're 8-9 hour difference drive. And Uno, I was talking to Uno, and I was like, he was like, hey, would you and Gabby want to do mystery wrestling Sunday? And I was like, well, that's awesome, because that's the first day I'm a free agent. He was like, oh, sick. And then I realized, oh, fuck. I'm going to Ottawa for C4, back home to Create a Pro, and then back up to do it and back home. And I feel like I really swerved some people, because there was even a fan that had tweeted that fun meme with like the thinking, and like there's a fan that tweeted like they made the connection that I was in Ottawa, and there was a lot of people in that C4 show like Ortiz and Brandon Cutler that were also on Mystery Wrestling. Yeah. And they made that connection and been like, huh, is he gonna be there? And I replied to them and said, no, I wish I was, but I have to go back down to New York for Create a Pro. And
surprise.
Surprise, I took off my I was in the 4-way where everyone's wearing the druid costumes, and I had lied. I lied. So that was such a fun time. Both Gabby and I had such an amazing experience. What a fun show. What a fun show.
That's on my bucket list. This is a mystery wrestling.
Oh man, the
list.
concept is so good.
Yeah.
Like they just view wrestling like this show is different from everything else, and it's what they want to do, and I'm all about that. So,
but I love that they changed the commentary, so you guys can watch this on Twitch. So make sure you're following them on social media, and then they put it on their Patreon after. So if you want to like back watch it, if you missed it, you got to go on the Patreon for it as well. So definitely check that out. So we've covered so much stuff, and like I know there's just, you know, we could like keep going and stuff like that, but you know, before we go, is there anything that we didn't touch that you want to like share?
Ooh. I don't want to say no, and then later on I'm like,
Well, we'll just have to have you come back. Like I said, that's it. You know, like...
we're definitely gonna do that. I'm definitely doing this again, because I'll have even more.
Yes.
But I guess the overall message that I feel like I'm trying to convey, and if there are any aspiring wrestlers watching, if I had any advice to give, it's to be the wrestler that you want to be. And I'm learning that more than ever, because for a while I was just looked at and put in the position of just, this is all almost like this is the only thing you're good for. this is all we're going to use you as. This is all we view you as. And I became complacent with that and forced myself to, yeah, I'm okay with that. I'm happy with that. You know, whatever. And then I realized, no, I'm not. And if you truly in your heart believe that you are more than what meets the eye, bet on yourself. And I'm taking that gamble. And so far, I'm loving every second of it. And I'll let you know how it goes in the long run. Maybe next time we're on this podcast, we'll talk about how it's gone.
Oh, definitely. So, man, I appreciate that you came on here. It was fun, you know.
This was a blast. This was the best.
You know, thanks to the fans. Like, you know, without you guys, you know, this wouldn't be a
Yes.
thing. You guys are amazing. I hope I got to everybody's questions, and if I missed something, I'm so sorry. But I think I got everybody.
We are all nothing without the fans. Because without the fans, we're just two people talking to each other by ourselves.
Yeah, definitely. So
So they're everything.
So yeah, no. So thank you for everything that you do. You know, it's always appreciated. You're like, you know, like I always thank you guys because it does mean
Thank you.
a lot. You know, so but yeah, so again, thanks in the chat. Good Cop Bat says, I'm booking personal leave for the following day on the return interview. I have to go. Got no work done this time around. Sorry. Sorry. Next week I have the Action Champion Tim Bosby coming on, so
Nice.
look out for the flyer. So that should be good. So I had said that he was one to look out for in 2025, and he's definitely making some waves with his spinner belt. So we'll talk to him next week. So
Yeah, I heard about that.
it's crazy. So guys, thank you so much. You know, stay safe, support independent wrestling. I'll talk to you guys soon. Have a good night.
Feeling miserable.